Hi, Terence. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good, good.
Yeah. How about
Good to have
yourself?
you here. I'm very good. I'm very good. As good can be in during this MCO.
Fantastic.
So I think we are all quite used to things right now because it's already almost just past 30 days right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are all quite adjusted now, and I think later on the big adjustment is we when we get back to work again.
Yep. There'll be an adjustment in the sense that, now we are used to a lot of work done without traveling. Getting back to work without
Yeah.
traveling
Ye-
uh, will be a bit different.
Yes. 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 Okay, so for friends here, today we have Terence Tan, um, Executive Director of Globe Success Learning, right? They are the ones who bring in a Money and You program in Malaysia, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a world famous program. He's here today to share about how emotions and differences in values affects our money decisions and relationships. Okay, it's very interesting because this topic is also close to my heart because I believe that that it's not only about hard work or the right thing or the right technique that creates wealth and also good relationships. It's also how we are programmed that it creates the surrounding around us. Am I right in saying that, Terence?
Yeah, yes, you can say that in the sense that, fundamentally, there is these two beliefs that envelops people.
Right.
The first two belief is this: the world is safe and
Okay.
the world is dangerous.
Right.
Okay, if you look at the fundamentally of these two beliefs that we looked at, is for those that believe the world is safe, they don't have a need to hoard, and
Okay.
they are more free. They can do things differently, and when the other fundamental people is the world is dangerous, they always talk to you. Okay, prepare for this, just in case this happens, just in case that happens, and then we need to save more just in case this happen, rainy days, da 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 da. And then when you put these two groups of people together, there's definitely conflict, because it's safe so I can do whatever I want. No, it's not safe. So it's actually, if you look at any disagreement that happens in money or relationship, it's basically these two big beliefs against each other.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Right. Right. Okay, I think we're going to hear a lot more about this throughout this conversation today. I think I'm really looking forward to this. Before that, let's just say a quick hello to everyone that is here. I'll just read out some of the names. Terence, feel free to just say hello to them. They are looking
Okay.
forward to you here. All right. Okay. That's Sam Selvaraj. All right. Saying hello to
Oh, hi
you.
Sam. Haven't seen you
Okay.
a long time.
Oh, okay. You know him, right? And people are coming in. We will just say hello. Everyone, just drop your hello to Terence. Let him know that you are around here. Hello, your love, your likes, and all. Let him know that you are around here. Okay. And please drop your questions here so that Terence can help to answer. Okay, he is actually, let me just read out while you drop your questions and say hello. Let me just read out a little bit about Terence, right? I think we all would like to hear a little bit about his background. Okay, now, Terence is actually the executive director of Globe Success Learning. Okay, his passion business that is dedicated over a decade of his life in his stand to develop the human potential in creating the kind of world that he wants his children to walk to. Okay, awesome there, right? So in this journey, he began expanding his vision um, as a transformational trainer and coach. Okay, he has shared the stage with highly successful international millionaires and business leaders. He's also a businessman himself, right? His greatest joy is to help people discover their own gifts and hidden potential. Very much aligned to that is his mission to empower them to express those gifts in a way that serves humanity, create more wealth, okay, and fulfillment for themselves and others. Okay, I hope I have explained about you today well. Uh,
As good as it gets.
as good as it gets. And today is here to share about how emotions and differences in values affects your money decisions and relationships. Okay. Fadila Adnan has said hello. May Thir has said hi. Jimmy Ang has said hello. This is Jamie tuning in from Brunei. Okay.
Wow. I have friends from Brunei and Cambodia all tuning in. Wow. I
All
haven't seen them
tuning
for a
in.
long time.
Yeah. Okay. And then JC, of course, you definitely know her, who she
Hmm.
is. JCV. Okay. And then let's see, from LinkedIn, people will be coming in and we will just say hello as we go along.
Okay.
So, Alex, over to you.
Okay. There's a lot of conversation, so it's a big conversation, and sometimes I
Okay.
also don't know where to start. And
Okay.
like, and like as I said, I started off earlier just now in talking about these two beliefs of world is safe and world is unsafe. And
Yes.
these two beliefs is one of the usually basic concept of people's argument. And you look at
Okay.
the emotion, it's like when they feel the world is unsafe, there's a fear there. And other than fear, it comes other than this, all the subgroups of anxiety, all the
Right.
subgroups of worry, all the
Right.
subgroups of like concern, and all the feelings. And where else, if you look at the group where the world is safe, is there's a lot of freedom, there's a lot of confidence, there's a lot of like sometimes ignorance, and so on and so forth. So these two groups is actually looking at very, very different beliefs and different worlds. So when these two come together, basically there's it's only differences. So we look at that. So that's how we're talking about a bit of emotions and the differences that affects people's money decision in relationships from there on. So
Okay.
what do you have like in your life that you can see that is like any examples that you see that there's conflict, then you want to decipher it? I can break it down for you.
Okay. So I think like example, one clear example I can see is like me and my wife, right?
Mm-hmm,
So like I'm a spender,
mm-hmm,
I just love to spend, buy
mm-hmm,
things. And she's actually the saver.
mm-hmm,
Okay. And in fact, like, there are certain times where, spending is very good, but
mm-hmm,
there are certain times actually her saving has actually helped us a lot, especially during the certain
mm-hmm,
tough times. And believe me, I've been through some really tough times.
mm-hmm,
And during the tough times, I could see really like, the saving and keeping, holding things actually
mm-hmm,
helped. So right now I've come to a point where it's a balance.
mm-hmm,
I'm conservative also. At the
mm-hmm.
same time, uh, I still have my spending habits.
Yeah.
Can't just go off just like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose it's just a balance also. We have to see both from both points, right?
Yeah, in a sense that like, the spending habit is like sometimes it runs from the belief that you have the confidence to make money anytime.
Yeah.
And then because you can make money anytime, then you are just spending what you make. And it's
Yes.
just that it is just part of rewarding yourself.
Right.
Uh, some people use it as a rewarding yourself. That's why we came up with what they call the spending autonomy. Like a lot of people spend to make themselves happy, the retail
Yes.
therapy, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
Part of it, if you look at it, a lot of people spend some part of it is because of a self reward. The other part of it is as well is because they are not very happy. When people are not very happy and they found out that money and getting instant gratification can get them to a bit of joy, they will use that money that they make to buy joy. And when that
Yes.
happens, they get joy, 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 joy. And then after that, it's short lived, but it's still good for them, right?
Right.
But that happens for a lot of people uh,
Mm.
because it just brings them to joy for that point in time. But they have not really addressed is what's really inside them that is not causing them giving them the joy. It could be
Right.
their job. It's very high paying, and even it's high paying, but they are unfulfilled and empty inside.
Mm.
So they need to use the resources they got to actually buy them joy, fulfillment, so that it comes out so that they are okay with it. But if it doesn't go to that, they will continue to be very unfulfilled and they are trapped in the cycle.
Right. Right.
Okay. For on the other side, it is like, okay, they're saving for rainy days and so on and so forth, because that's habit. It's like, regardless, if they make extra money, they'll put it all in the bank.
Right.
If they like have a windfall, they put it all in the bank. For
Yes.
them, it's like, it's so awesome that they have extra buffer. And
Right.
it's like,
Right.
once it goes to the bank, you have no way of taking out from their bank account anyway. Even for rainy days, it's also very, very hard.
Yes.
Yeah, you can relate to that, right? And
Yes.
and
Yes.
if you look at it, these are two different beliefs. It is like, if you go deeper, it would be, your money beliefs comes from one of your parents, and her money beliefs comes from one of her parents that she have learned from.
Yes.
And it's, if you look at it deeper, in fact, it's not even both of you having the conversation. It's
Yeah.
probably one of your parents and one of her parents having a conversation, and it
Right.
is not even both of your conversation.
Yeah.
I'm also very glad that now you have actually came to terms that, okay, you're pretty flat about it. I like to spend, and then I think saving is also okay. For her, it's like, okay, I love to save, spending is also okay. And then when it comes flat, then you can see most of the uh, conflict in the family actually disappears.
Right, right. Yeah, that's what's happening. I think over a long period of time, when we get adjusted to each other and we
Mhm.
see the pros and cons of each other's thinking, then we start coming down to a point where it doesn't rule. It's not ruling our our reactions.
Mhm.
So we can think a little bit more clearly, and then she's spending a bit more freely right now, and I'm also being a little bit more conservative sometimes, not on going on a quick decision to buy this, buy that. I think a little bit about it first before I buy something.
Yeah, this is not just on the buying stuff. It also, this kind of values we're talking about also goes into education,
Right.
how we handle charity, how we
Yes.
handle spiritual works, how we handle entertainment, how do we handle travel, how we ever. So the values is different for each value.
Yeah.
So there is always differences. It's up to, until we get to a balance where we don't have it's flat, then you can see the conversation actually is actually very, very easy. Until
Mhm.
then, the conflict is just the differences in values. That's all for now. And the emotions is like, you do this to me, and it's just like, some is anger, some is like passive aggressive, and so on and so forth. Depends
Mm.
what comes out, what flavor comes out.
Right. And what do you mean by flattening? What is that? What is that point where it's flat? What do you mean by that?
It's like what I've gone through with a wife, that you can see that your spending thing is,
Mm.
you found the best part in it. You
Right.
also discovered that your spending thing is also not all good. So it's like you have 100 good points about spending, you also had 100 good points about saving. And when
Mm-hmm.
you see the good points about saving and spending, and then say, oh, both is good at the same time, there's no which one is better than each other, it becomes flat.
Right.
There's no
Yes.
more emotional attachment to it.
Okay, okay. So I've also heard some questions where, like from some of the friends as we discuss about money, right? There
Mhm,
are friends who like, keep going into the cycle of
mhm,
even though they're earning a lot,
mhm,
and somehow things always crash down,
mhm.
or somehow the money situation is always bad, even though they're earning a lot, or they have done some businesses and all. Somehow it always comes back to the point where they are broke.
Mhm.
Why does this happen?
Okay, in the wealth part, there's three parts.
Okay.
Okay, usually in these three parts, it's like, first is the earning part, which people mostly talk about. That's it: make money, make money, make money, make money, make
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Then the second part is the keeping part.
Okay.
Then the third part is the growing part.
Mm.
So for those that don't have money, their only focus is to earn.
Right.
Yeah, they will look for ways to earn more, earn now. Some is earn long term, some is earn short term, some is just like do whatever it takes to make money fast without doing any work. There's a lot
Right.
of funny beliefs going on that may not be sustainable, but
Mm.
like that is just making. And
Right.
then even that now they can make already, like your friend,
Right.
chances are they don't have the ability to keep.
Right.
And in my experience, it's like when they cannot keep, there's usually a couple of things. One is
Mm.
there's the money ceiling.
money ceiling.
Yeah, if you look at
Okay.
it,
Right.
even yourself or your family, it's like your
Yeah.
wealth, the bank account will reach this amount of money. And then once it reach this amount of money, and then it just something happens, it will just go down.
Right.
And
Right.
then you
Right.
reach this account of money again, and then something happens, it'll go down again. It will
Yes.
repeat
Yes.
itself. And that is the ceiling. It's like, the stock market like that. You reach the top, you cannot go anymore.
Right.
So there is, for us, we know that there is some emotional things that you can, is in the way, as
Okay.
well as there is some beliefs in a way, but we don't know what it until we work with a person to find out what it is all about.
Right.
And some people's money ceiling is not evident because it's
Right.
like it's growing a little bit, but the growth rate is like 1, 2, 3%, very, very
Right.
slow.
Right.
And it's not like some other people is like 10, 20, 50, and it just goes
Right.
through the roof. Some people, yes, I can grow, but there's a limit, it's very slow.
Right.
Because some of the belief behind is
Yeah.
you make money slowly. And if they
Mm.
have believed that, then therefore their growth will be slow. Okay, for some people that has this ceiling, some of it is self-sabotage in the sense that they don't deserve to be wealthy. And what's the definition of wealth is maybe 200,000. So when they reach 200,000, something will happen and they spend all the money back to zero and they can make it back again.
Right.
Okay, and the last one, usually when I see that happen, is usually there's a lot of guilt in getting the money. They don't believe they deserve the money they make.
Mm.
And then it's like,
What?
I make the money too easily, and then I'd feel bad having this money on hand. Then I need to get rid of it as soon as possible. So usually it's this couple of things.
Ah. So what are some of the programmings that come? I mean, you've seen before that helps them have this kind of, like, first of all the ceiling, and then the
Mm-hmm.
second thing is, like, the feeling of feeling guilty of having money.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the programmings
Uh,
behind this?
the ceiling thing is a ridiculous number that they make up in their head.
Right.
So let's say some people that I work with is they have a belief that money is the root of all evil.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very ancient belief, but it still carries on up to today.
Right.
I still don't understand how.
Okay.
And it's like when money is evil, and I consider myself have money when I have 200,000. Let's say they make up that number.
Right.
So when they reach that number, psychologically, it's like they believe they are righteous and good people.
Right.
So there is like I'm a good people, I have money, and now I'm evil. So what do I do with the money?
I blow it somehow.
Yeah, so I don't want to be evil. It just blows away. And then I'm
Mm.
good again. Then they feel relief. And then the cycle repeats itself. So that's kind of one of those beliefs. So, but I don't know what beliefs that your friend have until
Yeah.
we chat more and find out what the beliefs is. Then I have a case study to present online.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Okay. That's
yeah.
interesting. I mean, that's interesting because sometimes we have this, and I've seen these ceilings also in my own life,
Mm-hmm.
where it has, reached, and then somehow, certain things, and then it comes down back again, and then it goes up, and then it comes down around like that. So
Mm-hmm.
this is pretty interesting actually, and then it's worth actually looking at all of the beliefs behind the money and the wealth that we have,
Yeah.
right?
Like for there's a lot of content on internet right now. There is
Yes.
plenty of content and it's free.
Right. Right.
Uh, it's like information is now abundance. The
Right.
only thing about how relevant the information is to you personally.
Mm.
Because let's say if I tell you that, okay, money is the root of all evil, and if I'm evil, that is example of one person. But it may
Right.
not be relevant to you directly because you
Yes.
could have another belief. And
Yes.
to be able to find out what beliefs runs a person is then that is it requires an interview and find out deeply what inside, and if they're open to it then we can be able to find out, that's all. And
Mm.
once this belief is discovered and fixed, the ceiling starts to disappear. So that's
Mm.
kind of the kind of work that I love to do because I actually see what is possible for the person and it opens up future potential.
Right. 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 Okay, so we have some questions coming up from the audience, right?
Mhm, mhm,
First of all, from Sam, right?
mhm.
in the next 6 months, what two strategies would you recommend when it comes to money decisions for sustainability?
Um, it all depends what money is a decision that you're talking about, whether it's a business decision, whether it's a personal saving. Let's say
Okay.
in a personal saving, in times of uncertainty, what most people to do is don't spend on luxury stuff, spend on basic stuff. It's
Right.
like you spend on what you need so that you can sustain longer. Uh, the whole conversation is about how wealth in the way we learn it is wealth is the number of days you can survive forward. You
Right.
want to extend the number of days you can survive forward. So
Okay.
if rice and bread can help you survive longer, then spend on that. And
Okay.
if entertainment can help you survive forward, spend on that. Depends on what your beliefs is and what your whole conversation about sustaining is all about. So it's about how you can last 6 months forward with the least resources possible, and then you can go 6 months forward again. That's kind
Mm,
of like how I would look at it as in life sustenance and in family sustenance and so on and so forth. So
mm,
that is kind of the decision for personal. And if you look at business, it's about cash flow.
right.
And when you talk about cash flow conversation, it's like, okay, when then you are looking at two types of people. There's some type of people is like, okay, I will do my best to sustain a company. Everyone takes a cut, and we'll
Right.
go through this journey together. There's one
Right.
type of business people that like to do that,
Okay.
and they will really need to know how with a change and whether their business can sustain that change. If the business cannot sustain that change and they already taken up that choice, I've actually seen through the last two uh, what called recession that business people that took that choice righteously have also lost their business because they can last 4 months to 6 months, but their business cannot last after that. So the whole business plus their team collapsed. So the business collapsed, the team left and find new jobs, and that's it. Well,
Mm,
all his hard work is gone.
right.
Or you can see some businesses, okay, I have no choice, I'll take care of myself first.
Mm,
Then I will fire most of some of the staff. I'm left with skeleton crew. And then because now my cost is so low, I also left my premises, start on smaller premises. And then now I can sustain 1, 2 years like that until I can figure out how to change my business.
right.
So it all depends on what kind of personality, as I can say. It is like the belief behind. Are we all on the ship together? I'm the captain of the ship, or like I'll take care of myself first, or there's many strategies and tactics to go about it. But depends. It still comes back to your human value. What is your value for sustainability? Do you care for your people? Do you don't care, or you care for yourself more? And once you answer all these questions to yourself honestly, then it's an easier call to make.
Right, right. So, Sam, I hope Terence answered your questions properly. You can always, come back again if you have, further questions on this. And then JC has another question from Vijaya, right? Every time I help someone during the crisis, I end up losing the money as well as the friendship. Where am I going wrong?
Okay. Well, when you help people in a crisis, it's your choice to help. In the sense that when you're helping people, there's two things that happens. Do they want your help? If they want to help, you help already is considered charity. You would always the money is always gone, unless you're talking about okay, my friend asked for a loan in the
Right,
crisis. Okay,
right.
if you're giving a loan, consider yourself a bank, being a bank. When a
Okay.
bank gives you loan, what do they want?
They want it back lah, with interest.
Not just that. The first thing they want is your collateral.
Ah, okay. Right.
Okay,
Yes.
banks don't lose money.
Hmm.
They give you money, but they want your house. If you look at it, halfway through paying all these things, they still get your house. They auction your house. They still make money at the end
Yes. Yes.
because you're
Somehow.
paying whatever
Yeah.
loan. Let's say your loan is 200,000. At the end of your loan life, you pay 600,000. And if they halfway through you cannot pay, they auction your house for 300,000, and then they have your loan interest and all this payment, they still make money. Yeah. So if you look at that, if you're going to loan money to people during a crisis, do they have the ability to pay you back? If they don't have the ability to pay you back, then it's a gift, it's not a loan.
Mm.
If they have the ability to pay you back and then fail to pay you back, that means it's like the bank says that your risk management is very poor and you don't have collateral.
Right.
And then if you don't, the person that has no promise or did not give you a land title or the house or a car or anything to pay you back, then that's it. That's you're choosing to do charity at that point in time. If you don't want to do charity and choose to be more prudent like a bank, then ask for collateral. If there's nothing to give you and you don't want to lose money, then you choose charity or not. It's not losing money. There's no
Yeah.
victims outside.
It's a choice you make, right?
Yeah.
Clearly, right?
Mm.
Okay. So, and what action should business owners, employees should take after MCO? I mean, post COVID-19. This is question from Siva Kumar Sundaraj.
It all depends what business you're in already. Like from now onwards, internet used to be a privilege that some business can be online, some business can be offline. But post MCO, everything is online. It is needed for survival already. It is no longer a privileged few to know how to use internet, to know how to use Facebook, to know how to use all these internet thing. But after MCO, everything is online already. People have gotten the taste of getting everything they want online. If you're not online and you don't do delivery, yep, that will be a challenge already.
Mm,
So that is one thing that is definitely post COVID and post MCO. How viable is your business online? How can you serve people online? But not forgetting, the online part is the same as the offline part. If you can't do it properly offline, you can't do it properly online. If you have not
mm,
mastered the offline part, going it online, you will have the same problem anyway because you have not solved the real problem.
mm.
Hope I just
Okay.
answered your general question. If you have more specific, please ask a more specific, then I can address it more into the issue of your business.
Okay. So on Sam's question earlier, he said, Thanks, Terence. Insightful advice."
Oh,
Okay, that
thank,
is Sam's.
thanks, Sam.
All right. Okay. So okay, the other one is like, how about business decisions? You mentioned earlier also about
Mhm.
how differences in values affects business decisions. How does this work? And decisions between business partners and all.
Um, okay, I've just quote a couple of cases
Right.
because I don't work very well with what is. Case study for me is like this. Recently, I have friends that form conglomerates. They've been partners for 10 years.
Yes.
Okay. They're conglomerated, work together for 10 years when times are good. When times are bad, the directors actually split up. The reason being is because one director says that, okay, I'll fire this couple of staff for us to get it over with. Then we'll survive through this conversation and then we'll get by. While these other directors is like, no, we can't. I want all my staff to stay together. And then because they're like my family, how can I let my family go? Of course, the direct and uh, I'm not going to stereotype. The director that wants they to stay as a family is usually female,
Right.
and then the other one is male, and therefore it is like one is with emotions, one is without emotion. But if you look
Right.
at it fundamentally, this big conflict comes from uh, the one is like I survive. Most important, I survive. The other one is we survive as a whole team. Okay, and these two beliefs is fundamentally there. So the whole conflict is because of these two conversation, and there is no being what do you call resolute. There's no resolution in these two. It's like one is I lose this much money, one is I lose even more money. So they have to choose. So
Right.
therefore, that
Right.
is one case where conflicts happen in business, and it is not like they are not smart people. They know what to do. It's just that they choose. One is choosing team. One is choosing self.
Different parts, different ways of thinking, right?
Different ways of thinking. And even like in a whole organization now, it's like one partner can be choosing that the future is going to be okay after COVID, and we ready, economy is going to open, we are going to hit the iron while it's hot, while everyone is starting. And the other one is like post COVID, everyone is scared to come out, then what will you do with our business? So even with these two decisions of seeing the future differently, there will be conflict.
Yes.
So yeah, because the direction of the future is no longer aligned, and therefore how you want to move the team is no longer aligned. So it's like some teams will be scared, some teams want to move forward, but they are also like it kind of like one leg on the accelerator, one leg on the brake, so they can't really move forward as an organization as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
it's
I'm
it's
talking.
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, this is basically all the like case studies of conflicts that I'm encountering at this point that I can share with you.
Yeah, it's. I think it's very real. I've heard almost similar cases also outside there. Where there's
Mhm.
a big conflict in how we look at things. Okay, so we have. Let me just say hello to a few from LinkedIn, our friends in LinkedIn. Okay, Roslan Yakub, our regular viewer from LinkedIn.
I
Hello, hi Roslan, and then Christopher Marshall says hello. Rohan says hello. And from YouTube, we have another question. Just hold on a second. Okay, from Karin Chang. How do you separate between helping someone on a personal basis versus helping them in their business without allowing emotions getting into play?
okay. Hi, Karen. On a personal basis, it's basically your value as a human being. Okay.
Right.
And as a human being, whether you are a bit scarce of resources or you have extra resources or abundant resources, if your resources is cash, then you can choose to donate and give. Like now, we are all choosing to give to all our different charities. From like for myself, is my home, and like getting vegetables to take care of my kids and so on and so forth. My orphanage, that's what I mean. And for the personal basis is what you want to do as a human being to help another human being in need. If you have more, they have less. If you choose to give, it's on a personal basis. It's a giving, not expecting anything back. Okay. Where else on business is different. On a business is exchange. It's a clear exchange of values and exchange of uh, what you give to each other. If you give your expertise in exchange of what, that agreement has to be made clear. If you're giving your expertise in exchange of someone else's time or bread or something, if they don't give you bread, you already give the expertise. It's like, okay, someone is taking bread from you but not paying you money. So that's business
Yeah.
conversation. So if you're not being paid and you're angry about it, then you take action. Because if the agreement is clear that you already exchange values and not you're not being paid for your values, then you can demand for your value. So that's the business conversation because it's business. Business is not charity. Business purpose is also to generate profit and add value. If not, the
Yes.
business cannot exist and sustain. So at this point, you just have to be clear whether it's business or personal. If it's business, make
Right.
sure you get paid. Make sure you make profit. It's personal, up to you. Depends on your human value.
Right. Right. I think that's well said there. Okay. And then Sivakumar, I hope that explained, Karin. I hope that explains to you well. And then Sivakumar, who asked the question earlier, said, "Thanks, Vyasa and Terence. Exceptional topic with awesome tips." So thank you,
Thank you. Thank you.
Terence.
Hope I've supported you.
Oh yeah, it's good. The tips are all good so far. How about in personal relationships,
Mhm.
husband, wife, and all? How do they, differences in values create conflicts? And what are the things that can be done to, mellow down or make things better?
Hmm. And if you look at personal relationship wise, like like when I started with your spending and your wife saving thing. Okay, that,
Yes.
that is just one of it. Okay,
Yes.
there is plenty of conflict. If you look at it, it is on uh, amount of nutrition. In fact, okay, we can
Mm.
eat better, or no, we can eat cheaper. We can eat better, cheaper. It is still the same conflict of spending and saving.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
even if you go to nutrition, then if you go to school, it's like, okay, what can the kids eat in school? Which school should the kids go for? It is still the two conversations. It goes back to the
Right.
two conversation. It's
Yes.
about, to me, the tools I can share with you is like, for both of a couple is to share what's good about the saving, what's good about the spending. Share until you can see both sides is good. Even
Yeah.
if you have biasness towards one side, the conflict will still happen. They keep sharing and
Yes.
talking until there's no more biasness on both sides. Then you see there's no more conflict in relationship anymore. Just disappeared like magic.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Very well said there. What are some of the other kind of conflicts that happen in a relationship? You know, that you have seen.
Uh, that's a lot to think. I can't think about. uh, I guess usually the major conflict in relationship is about money
Right.
and about uh, what they call it's just a lot about money and a lot about uh, parents and
Right.
kids. These three things.
Right.
Money is like, how should we spend the money? How should we use resources? Is it separate resources or shared resources?
Mm.
Let's talk about money first, then parents, and then what the third thing I said?
Kids.
Kids. Yes. Okay. Uh, if you look at it, most couple gets into this relationship and say that, okay, I love you, you love me, let's get together. Boom, happens. That's it, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And when they get to relationship, they have this conflict and they don't know what to do with it. And some that cannot handle conflict, they say that you don't love me enough, and then they leave. That's the end of the story. Like if you look at business, if two business partners get together on how to spend the company resources, they have a lot of agreements. What
Mm.
is spent, what is not spent, what is this, what is not this. Okay, and you look at it, what couples usually fail to do is set up what they call rules or the games for relationship and
Mm.
for
Interesting.
using the money. How should we use the money?
Mhm.
There's no agreements. So when there's no agreements, people make up their own agreements, and then in my mind it's supposed to be like that, in your mind it's supposed to be like that, and then there comes the conflict. So if
Right.
you want to have less conflict, yeah, like even tonight, it's like go home and tell her, let's make some rules about money. How should we spend money? How much should we spend the money? And then when you set up these the rules, of course, it can be bad rules first. After you implement it and know, okay, this doesn't work for me, this work for you, but doesn't work for me. What is the amount and budget to make it win-win? Then from then on, there will be less conflict on money because this rules was never been discussed. And you can look at it, the resources using to sustain the family conversation has never really been discussed. So when it's never been discussed, people just assume.
Yes. Yes.
So if
True.
you take that on, then it will make a big difference in your life.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you look
So
at
that.
it, yeah. And the next
Yeah.
thing would be kids. Let's talk about kids first. Kids is
Yeah.
like how you grow up and how the wife grow up to become whoever you are is usually by different parenting style.
Yes.
And because you experience this parenting style and you think this works, you will say that this works. And
And
if
not
you
the other one.
yeah, or you experience the parenting style that the parents gave you, you didn't like it, you think that that one did not work, so I do totally opposite.
Yes.
At the end, it is like this, and somehow if you look at couples, they're adamant about it. They're adamant about which works and which doesn't work. The best part is they have no basis of know whether it works or did not work because they have not tested it before. And
Yes.
therefore, the conflict already happens and they have no idea whether it works or not still. They're just testing it before. And all I can say is this: whatever you do to the kid, you can do to the kid. It's fine. Because what decisions the kid makes up in their mind will be totally from what you expect. And how the kids makes up their decision in their mind is their own journey in life. Even you can be the most perfect parents, they can turn out totally different. Because the stories, the experience that they get, they interpret it differently, they feel it differently, and create their stories differently and have what kind of life they choose to and choose what their values is. It's all by them. You cannot, you can't really influence them that much as you think. So the kids will turn out however they want to anyway, regardless of what you think and what you do. That's the best piece of advice I can share with you. Just let it go, chill. They'll be fine.
That's interesting because we end up, we're trying to do the best we can do, and hopefully, they turn out well and all. But when you say this is where a totally different way of looking at things, where they take charge of their own life, and you don't really know how they're going to come turn up in their own lives, right?
Yeah, if you really look at yourself, your parents could what did they tell you to about being an adult, being life? Much. You figure out most of everything on your own. If you look at
Yeah,
it for
that's true.
yourself, even yes, they show us that's one way, but I don't have to choose that way anyway. There's a path. I don't have to choose that path. I choose my path. You came to that yourself. So as a parent, you're just showing them one possible way, but they choose their own way anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very true.
That's in your
Very true.
experience. So like yeah. So for most parents, they're still fighting about kids. Just please let that go. Because I've seen too many couples split up because of kids. They love each other, but they just don't know how to. They are so adamant about their kids.
Right, right, right. Very interesting. So we had, like, fighting about money, then we
Mm-hmm.
are fighting about kids, and then there's fighting about parents.
Yeah, it's like it's like okay. Somehow, when they get involved as a couple, it's a I think it's an Asian thing. I'm not very sure if it's an Asian thing or not. It's like the parents becomes family straight away. If you look at the Western culture, the parents are not family. They stay far away. They don't have to see them. They don't have to deal with them if possible. But
Yeah,
since we are born into this culture, and it's like, okay, my parents need more help than your parents, so let's help my parents more. And then one feels that, oh, I'm doing too much, I'm doing too little, I'm doing so much. But basically, there is also no discussion about that because I love my parents. I'll take all my family funds to take care of my parents. It's like, okay, our family funds is our family funds. What you can give to people is also maybe 10%. If you choose to charity, it's 10%. Okay, if you want to do the parents, it's 10% of the funds. Because if you don't set that, they think that 100% is for you to use to help them.
yeah, true, true.
So all these are rules that needs to be set. But how can you say 10%? If I want 10%, I also need 10%. But your parents are okay. No, it's then it comes a fair or unfair conversation. So all these rules needs to be clear
Right.
before every other conversation because all these are all the tough conversation that could break the relationship.
Yeah, because in the initial time, yeah. Sorry, go ahead,
Yeah,
Terence.
but if you look at it, most people are so afraid of the tough conversation, they don't even talk about it and they just leave it as it is and the relationship goes stale. It's about having tough conversation. If your relationship cannot live by those tough conversations, you don't need to be in this relationship. It's not strong enough for both of you to be long term. It's not sustainable. If you
True,
cannot have
true.
this tough conversation, it's not sustainable. When I'm talking about relationship with husband and wife, this is also the same thing with business partners. This is the same thing with friends and brothers and sisters, father and mother, and so on and so forth. Because whatever is shared here is almost quite universal.
Yeah, yeah. So just to share with you,
Mhm.
okay, Siva Kumar said exceptional topic with awesome tips. Karin Chang, who asked a question just now about giving, she said, well said. Thank you, Terence, for the clarification. Okay, Jonathan Fu uh, has said awesome advice, Terence.
Hey, thank you.
And then Rosaline has dropped by to say hello there.
Hi, Rosaline.
Okay, so it's very interesting. And friends, those who are around watching here, this is a very good topic, right? Let me just put up the topic here again about how emotions and differences in values affects your money decisions and relationships. Again, if you have questions before we end the show, just drop in your questions so that Terence can help to answer. He has been giving a lot of tips. People have been asking a lot of questions, especially about family, about money, about business relationships with partners, business partners, how things fall down, how different decision, different being, all affects your decision. So just drop in your question so that he can help to answer. Terence, by the way, is actually the executive director of Globe Success Learning, right? Who actually brings in the Money and You program in Malaysia. Okay. So let's just continue, right? In terms of money, some of the programmings. What are some of the programmings that you have seen or heard? When people when they're young and then they bring it up to their adulthood, and that affects their relationship. Would you be able to share some of these programmings that you have seen?
Okay, I can share uh, some in the sense that, okay, I've seen like uh, people when they're young, they look at family members that are wealthier and so on and so
Right.
forth. They say, look at that person. How could they do such things to people? Look at the person. They are so rich and yet they are so stingy. Look at the
Yeah.
person. They have money to spend, but they don't help us still. They only take care of themselves first.
Right.
So somehow you see some of the kids is, oh, wealthy people are bad. And somehow, okay, then the mom says, you be a good boy when you grow up, okay? Or be a good girl when you grow up. Okay, wealthy people are bad. I want to be good. Therefore, I cannot be wealthy. Somehow, their subconscious in the brain already programmed that, okay, I don't want to be wealthy. And the other part is like, the things that the programming that comes as kids usually is like work hard. You all probably would have like experienced that. Your parents say, remember to work hard, study hard. Yeah, right.
Yes. Yes.
It's like because that's the best that they know. It's like, okay, I'm using manual labor to make money, so I want you to work hard and study hard, so you don't have to use manual labor and use your brain to make money. At the end, yeah, people end up as employees and so on and so forth because they work and study hard for entrepreneurs. And these are all the programming that come from kids' belief of like I see all these parents that actually wants to do a lot of good, but giving all these belief to their kids. And usually these beliefs are imparted during emotional times when they're angry with certain wealthy people, or when they see injustice and so on and so forth, and they voice it out, and this belief gets stuck to their kids. These are just two that is usually said.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
I've also heard things like money doesn't grow on trees, and like you said just now about work hard. Okay, what is the problem about the word, the phrase that gets stuck in the mind about working hard?
Okay, it's not the phrase itself.
Mm.
It becomes like I need to work hard to get money. So
Mm.
it becomes money doesn't come easily.
Right.
So when money doesn't come easily, if you look at it, around money, you will always have struggle. You always have struggle around making more money. You
Right.
already work your effort, you can make this much. And this amount stays there all the time. And then to do more, the only way is like I have to work 18 hours to 24 hours. And then there is no other way for you to get it easier. Somehow your brain doesn't open up to getting money easier. It's not open up to things like leverage, are not open up to things like support. If you look at people that really love to work hard, asking for support and being what I call weak is not in their vocabulary usually.
Right. So they end up always working hard all the time, and they don't know if, or if they're really not open to the possibility of money coming in an easier manner
Mm-hmm.
than what they have already done in a
Yeah,
hard way.
yep. Collaboration is usually not that possible. Partnership is usually not very possible because they are afraid and don't know how to. And if you see, like some partnerships, like one works very, very hard in operations, the other partner does sales. The person that does sales doesn't have to work hard. It's the
Yes.
easiest hard job. And he just goes and play golf and, go drink tea, go this, drive around, say hi, call people, and then work about 8 hours a day, reach office late, leave office early because all the sales call is done. And then the partners get upset. You do nothing for the company. Why did you do? What did you do for the company? I work from 7 in the morning to 12 at night. What did you do for the company? You just make a few calls. Not knowing that if they don't have sales, you don't need to be in operations at all.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yes.
that belief becomes in the way of that partnership. But the partnership was ideal.
Yes. Yes. So it's also like these are the kind of programming that's they are very interesting lah. Very
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Okay, we have a question from the audience. Question from Devi. If my children are capable, they will not need my money. If my kids are not capable, it's useless. I leave them any. What's your take on this?
My take on this is this. It's my take and my personal opinion, okay? My money is my money. That's it. Anything I don't spend is probably their money somehow.
Right. Right.
So I'm just spending their money at the way. And if I'm looking at it, I'm actually spending their money. If I'm leaving any to them, I'm just spending their money. If your kids don't know how to make money, giving them, it could be a burden as well. That's why a lot of wealthy families, they don't pass money to their kids. They set up trust funds to give
Mm,
them. I'm only providing you a degree. I'm only providing you a house. The rest of it is like maybe $1,000 a month that you won't go to the streets. Okay, the trust fund is for that function. So if they're not capable, they're useless. And as a parent, you feel that it's your obligation to take care of their existence because you bring them into this world, choose to do something like that. But if they're capable, can make it on their own, and you feel that they earn your trust to be the steward of your hard-earned money, then you can pass it to them. Your choice. It is depends on what you believe. But if you believe that because they don't know how to be a good steward of money and you don't want to pass anything to them, it's up to you. I won't, because whatever I pass will be gone anyway. I will be
yeah.
choosing that for me, I'll be choose to take care of their existence. After that, it's all up to them. I can't take care of them forever. So is you. So do you.
Right. So, Apama Devi, I hope Terence answered your question there. Okay, it's a direct answer there. And okay, another question came up is like, another programming that always
Mm-hmm.
comes up is money doesn't grow on trees.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get. Be careful of how you spend it. How does this work up later on in life, when and this is like one of the roots of when you grow up.
Well, it's just probably the roots of why your wife loves to save. Money doesn't grow on trees. Save.
Right.
So
Right.
make sure you're on there on a rainy day. It's just like, you must look at why people say that. Like people say that or 50 to 100 years ago. The saying goes from long time ago. At that point in time, there is no leverage, there's no education, and the only work you need to do is hard work and manual work. So
Yes.
really, money doesn't go on trees. You are rewarded for hours of labor.
Yes.
It is true then, but it may not be true now.
Yep.
It is true then, but it's not. All these conversations are from eons ago, and it's not valid. I give you another example. It's better to give than to receive.
Yes. There's another one. Yeah, I heard
You
that
know
a lot.
who? Yeah, you heard that a lot. You know who says that? The
Uh,
churches, the
the churches.
mosques,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
the,
Yes.
the temple men. They tell you it's better to give than receive. Why? You give them, they collect. Of course, it's better to give than receive. And because they are they're called the wise people. You listen to them because they're the leader of your spiritual community, your leader, and they need your giving for them to be able to sustain and so on and so forth. I tell you, it's better to give than receive.
Yes.
But if it's real or not, I don't know. But they will have to say that to be able to get alms and so on and so forth.
Right.
Because like that's origin from there. And then after that, other people believe that. So people just keep giving.
So that's one of the key places where it came from, originated from.
That in my research, yes, but it could be uh, inconclusive. That could be further behind that I don't know about.
Okay. Okay. So another question from the audience, Tiva.
Mhm.
Uh, can you give examples on how to instill financial literacy in for children, and how to talk about investments to children? Very
Okay,
interesting.
financial literacy. I think as parents, I see most parents instilling and teaching their children how to spend. They don't teach their children how to save. They don't
Mhm.
teach their children how to invest. These two things they don't invest. Okay, because what you do is like when you come out to school, you give them money.
Yeah. True.
What you do with the money? They spend.
Yeah.
Okay, so do they already have a saving habit? It's like whatever you give them $5. Do they take $1, put in the piggy bank, and take $4 and spend for the week? Budgeting, for example. Do they learn budgeting from there? Or like, okay, you have $10 for the week, and whatever it is, save $2, $8, spend however you want to spend. So they already learn savings as a habit because wealth is a habit.
Mm-hmm.
Wealthy people have different habits from less wealthy people. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Wealth is a habit. So if you start teaching them the saving habit from the end, from very, very young, they will have it. It just becomes a culture and becomes a habit. For a lot of us, it's just culture because it's in our blood. Our
Right.
parents do it. It's like in most of our Asian culture, we give money to our parents.
Right.
So if they keep nowadays we don't do it, by cash. So we do it by TT and stuff like. They don't see it. They don't see us doing it. So the culture could be lost. So when
Right.
you do it so that they can see you do it monthly. So they say, oh, my dad do this monthly to my grandfather. So then I grew up, this is what I'm supposed to do. So this is what I call in our culture, we do that. So we want to show.
Right.
And financial literacy, one part is just savings. Okay. The other part is uh, making money. So it's like, do we allow our kids to go make $4 an hour in McDonald's? Do we allow our kids to make hard labor? Do we allow our kids to do stuff, waste their time to make some money? Because some parents say, no, man, I make more, I can give you the money, why work? Go and study. But the thing is like, well, it's also depriving their kids from opportunities to see how to make money at a younger age. It's like what I really, really see that is really a challenge in society now is parents protecting their kids too much from adversity. And when they get out, when in the real life, when there's adversity, the kids doesn't know how to handle any of those. Therefore, we kind of have the strawberry generation where a little bit they are boost fruits already, and they go home to their parents. Oh, my boss did this. Oh, my staff did this. Oh, this, and it's only all complaint. So it is like really letting them experience as much adversity as possible when they're young. If not, they can't handle it when they're older. They don't grow and handle this. If you look at yourself when you're younger, you go through hardship. Therefore, now hardship is normal. If you look at the kids, do they go through hardship? If not, to them, it's just the new hardest thing for them to deal as an adult.
Right. Right.
And investment, it's wide, from real estate to housing, to shop lots, to land, to wood, to animals, stockpiles, to chili plants, to currency. Depends what are you familiar with. Because any investment is a good investment if you know what it is. You have to be so familiar with it. If you're not familiar with it, whatever it is, it is not an investment, it's a gambling choice.
Right. So one of the advice you'll give to Tiva would be to show them what you're investing in. It's something that you're familiar with, lah.
If possible, yes. If you're doing it already, uh, like or like if possible, have a family bank. Okay, it's like everyone throws some money into the bank, and then they can use the bank to loan money to family members. And then what you want to do with the money in the bank is a money decision that you have a weekly meeting or monthly meeting to discuss what to do with the money in the bank. And then you pass through financial literacy through a family bank.
Okay, very interesting. Very
That's
interesting.
another conversation for another day. It's a big conversation.
That's a big one. Yes.
That's a big
Yes.
conversation.
There's a follow up from the savings, right? Kids and
Mm,
savings. So, like sometimes they can't really see
mm,
why they need to save because let's say they're spending
mm,
here. Let's say you give them some allowance,
mm.
but they can't really see the need for savings. How can they start seeing the need or the importance of savings in the piggy
Dep-
bank, for instance?
Deprive them. It's like give them
Deprive them.
stand. When they run
Okay.
out of money, they have no more money to eat. Then they
Right.
say, oh, if I spend more, I don't have money to eat. Now I need to plan. If a few times they don't have money to eat, they're okay with it, then they're okay with it.
Mm.
It depends on what they learn. It's like some people, I've seen kids, they go on two ways. Some
Right.
kids actually choose to make money.
Right.
They choose. I have seen one of my friend's daughter choose to create some games in school for everyone to play, and then
Right.
everyone puts $5 to buy in to play that game, and they play it daily. So she makes money and go and spend her own money
Oh.
because the parents didn't give enough. They choose to make money.
Right. Right.
I've,
Right.
I also seen some other kids. It's like, okay, I choose to eat less. And it depends on the kid's conversation. Only when they have to experience the situation, then they can decide what to do. But taking away experience from them, they don't have the experience to choose what they can do with their life and be responsible for it.
Adversity. Okay,
Yep.
so GC just said suffering builds character, grew with that. Okay. And okay, a question from Lemon Knee. I earn more than 10K a month. I am single, but I don't feel that I can have a luxury life. If I want to earn more money, should I work hard to get promotion and change job to a higher pay, or is there any other way?
Well, there's many ways. Depends on what you want to do with your life. You can get married to someone that makes a lot more money and stay home. That's
That's
also a
big, huh?
choice. Yeah,
Yes.
that's usually the quickest way to wealth for some of them.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And when they say luxury life, it's about qualify what is luxury life. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
is it first class travel? Is it what? And
Mm-hmm.
these are what they call lifestyles.
Mm-hmm.
Live a life where you can afford the lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, do you need this lifestyle? Is the question.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to really think about that. If you look at it, who is paying for advertisement on the newspaper or everywhere else now? If you look at it,
Businesses, they're the ones who are paying for them.
yeah,
Yeah.
what kind of business? If you look at it, it is Sam Darby is promoting. You should have your dream home.
Yes.
Why? Because they sell homes.
Yes.
The bigger the dream home, the more sales they have. But if you look at it in the past, we only buy whatever we can afford, and that's it, and we are happy with it. But they have to sell you that you're unhappy with your old house so that you can buy a new house and increase consumption. They tell you that you're unhappy. And what Citibank tells you, you can travel anywhere.
Yeah.
Why? Because when you travel, you have debt, then you can pay interest. That's how they make money. Every
Yep.
one of you is selling you that you can enjoy your life beyond your means so that they can make more money on you.
Yeah.
Because they make money on interest and they make money on you being in debt forever. So you choose that. If you choose being in debt forever, that's a trap that you'll be stuck forever in there. So really, really learn what makes you happy. Does luxury makes you happy or not? Does a walk in the park make you happy? Find out what really makes you happy. Because when I ask this question to a lot of people can't answer that question. And that's very, very sad. What makes you happy is the basis of a lot of all this conversation. What do you need to make you happy? What are the 3 things you need to make you happy? If you can answer these 2 questions, you'll find that you will need a lot less money because you're already happy. I didn't answer the question directly, but I answered the question in another way around.
Yeah. There's a single answer for this one for sure.
It all depends. If my value is an achiever, like I want to achieve stuff, I tell her to go again and again. It's a life that never ends. If you look at it, she can put the next 30 years into achieving more and more and more and never be happy. But after that, what's left of her life? She has to think about that.
So it's better to answer the more pertinent question, as you would say, early on, rather than just keep chasing for the so-called luxury life that have been fed to us, lah.
Yeah, if luxury life makes you happy, it's your conversation because ultimately you are still chasing happiness.
Yes.
So if you are still chasing that, why don't you find out what brings you joy first, then chase? You can have it every day now. You don't have to have it only when you have a luxury life.
Right. 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 Okay. So, okay, Sogi Raj has said, hi, Terence. And this is from LinkedIn. And then Fadli Annan has said, Terence, please connect that guy who just asked a question. I will send him some links. Okay. I Okay.
You will do that. I don't know how to do that.
Okay. All right. So, any final questions you all have? This is the last chance. Terence has a little bit more time. Please drop by the questions. Otherwise, you can always look him up at Facebook, Terence Tan. Okay. Let me just put up his name here. Okay. Are you on LinkedIn, Terence?
No, I could be. I don't know.
Okay. But you're on Facebook, I know that.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yes.
you can always look him up. He's also the executive director of Globe Success Learning. So you can always look him up there. You can check out their website. Okay. And Terence, do you have anything else to say before we finish the show today?
If I can leave
Yeah.
a message to all of you that's listening, it's like I would really want to let people know that you have a choice. You actually do have a choice to don't have conflict in your life. You have a choice to have joy in your life. You have a choice to be happy. You have a choice to experience grace. You have a choice to experience peace throughout even these messy times. It's all choices that you can have. And do your best to find out what beliefs are in your way rather than just the doingness. What beliefs in your way? What really causing you to not sleep at night? And get people to help you, get support, because there are a lot of people that could support you to go through that and you don't have to suffer. Suffering is a choice. Joy is a choice. So I'll leave you with that. So for you to ponder and then get support. And if anyone can support you to go through that, go for it. Seek help. That's what I can leave you with.
Oh, that's wonderful. Definitely something to think about and ponder upon to this. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for following and watching the show. Please feel free to drop by any comments or anything like that later on, also, right? And Terence Tan, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
enjoyed I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the comments, the by everyone, and I enjoyed your tips and tricks. I think it already immediately helped a lot of people already with some of the answers.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And Nara Subramaniam has said, "Well done, Terence. Nice to see you and your presentation." Okay. And for everyone else who have been watching, you can always watch our previous this live show already recorded. The YouTube link is just right below in the comments section. You can always click on the links, and then you can find this same recording in YouTube. You can also look up our past recorded shows. Everything is there, and the purpose of this conversation that matters is to add value, especially during this time. Okay. So just thank you so much again. We enjoyed having you here for sure. I enjoyed listening to this. I think a lot of things came up and made me ponder a lot of things too. So thank you again, Terence. We will see you again sometime in the future.
Definitely. If you need anything at
Right.
all, just let me know.
Yes. Just hold on for a while. While we after this show, right?
Okay.
I'm going to end this broadcast right now.